Hello. Again.
Wait a minute. Michael Kurtz.
Thank you for that intro. It was about 8 years ago when the obituary of record stores was written, and we were all doomed, and we were all going away, and we were some antique of the past. Here we are 8 years later, celebrating the vibrancy. I think there's been almost 20 record stores open in LA in the last 2 years. It's a very dynamic time, and it's all about power of community and power of people taking their own, following their own dreams. And today we have artists who inspired us early on. These are, both John and Chuck D are the artists that drove these record stores to do what they do, through the passion of their music and encouraging them to be individuals and to not cave into, just complacency and going along. We challenged the system and we've been successful. And then we have a couple young artists here that are just starting out on the path. And we want to be a part of their lives and encourage them the way these artists have encouraged us. And then we also have a couple record store owners here who would be able to speak from their own personal experience. So without any further ado, I think what we'd like to do is just, if anybody, John or Chuck, if you guys want to make any kind of statement, that would be great, and then we will start taking questions.
Well, the D stands for Densmore and the Doors. Just to be able to see John backstage, I was like, wow. I mean, for the longest period of time, you were always just two-dimensional to me. It's like somebody coming up the screen of light. So we have a pleasure meeting in the back. I like to say, hello, everybody. My name is Chuck D, and I'm glad to be this year's Record Store Day ambassador instead of some bastard by the doors. But I was inspired by my good friend Eric Levin, and I'm wearing my grimy record shirt. People like Herman Henderson from Ohio, and artists like J Live and Annie DeFranco and Rhyme Sayers crew, and people like that last year, Jack White. So I got some great ideas to say, but I'm doing more listening. Thank you. I'm doing more listening than talking, but I got some points to say that this year, hopefully everybody can look at the Amoeba model as being something to ride with, instead of looking at the former models of competing against something that really wasn't there. The enthusiasm of record stores being cultural library extensions as well as entertainment meeting places and centers is very important. I think that the truth is important, and I think we're in a revolutionary phase. And when you're in a revolutionary phase and you invent something, beware of super gigantic big business to come with that evolutionary phase. So, but I come from DJ culture and rap music, and I would tell you that Gene Simmons got it wrong the other day by saying that rap music is not rock and roll, because this store will attest, when you look into the grooves and you check out the sounds, that before these riffs were all rocked out, there was some blues cat that might have been or might have not wanted to be recorded, that it made that riff in the first place. So it's all rock and roll. Because when you talk about, when you talk about getting down, at the end of the day, you better rock the house. So that's where that comes from. So I got some more points, but I'm doing some listening and taking notes. So that's what I do. So I would like to give out my information right now. It's chuckd@publicenemy.com. We like to make relationships with all kinds of people out there, artists, record stores, and I work with a great vinyl pressing place called RTI, which has been around 40 years, and more than just saying that it's a vinyl get-off, you know, there's people are collecting vinyl for so many different reasons. It's not just this thing where I gotta go and make my mixtape on my new turntables. Record players are very, I like to keep a record player. I don't keep a turntable. So seeing Crosley explode is my thrill. And then also, people want to be able to look at vinyl as being, it's the new Sonic poster. I mean, why do people collect comic books and stamps and paintings? I mean, you really can't do anything with a painting other than, but at least, you know, now the configurations of vinyl allows you to have that option. Like, wow, I can even hang it and I can play it, you know, and I just think that it was inevitable, you know, and DJs do that, and record collectors always do that. So this has come full circle for me. But like I said, I'm gonna do some more listening and I'll comment later. Thank you. Tweet me at Mr. Chuck D. M.R.C.H.U.C.K.D. I like to tweet, but I'm not a twittiot. Myself and Mr. Densmore starting a duo.
You know, when you were talking about me, I was kind of feeling helium rising, you know? So I'm going to throw some back at you. I'm going to take off my glasses first. Yo, Chuck. Now, you know, we just met, but, you know, I know what he's been up to, and it's an honor for me to be hanging here with you and everyone else. So, I see someone out there with my new book. I published a book about last year, and I found myself going around to record stores similar to Amoeba around the country, and instead of bookstores, and wow, blew my mind. What an oasis. You know, you can tell everybody loves music at these stores, and it's diverse. I came in here this morning and I heard Charlie Mingus on the PA. You know, jazz, rap, rock, it's all here, man. And I can feel the sense of community all over the country at each of these stores, which, you know, it's such a good feeling. And it's under the friggin' radar, you know, the big corporate labels, they don't know what's going on here, but we do, right? So, real happy to be here, and I'll have some more to say later.
All right, would anybody hear Marc, or either Marc, you guys want to make a brief statement, and then we'll take some questions?
I'm Marc Weinstein, one of the owners of Amoeba, and I'm so happy to have you here. Nothing is more exciting and fulfilling to me than all the different ways this place kind of represents a cultural hub in LA and in each of the communities that we're in. But this store is such a product of how much we love the subject of music and the artists. I mean, our store has always gone way out of its way to kind of represent the underrepresented artists and trying to be kind of a model that's based on more like the stores that these other guys have, kind of neighborhood stores, but kind of all put together in such a way that people can kind of visit whatever areas they're most interested in. But we understand first and foremost that you know, how much of a high people get from music and what people's art, you know, music is, and we really want to represent it, do it justice, and that's part of why the store's so damn big, because there's so much stuff out there that people could be into. Sort of how we grew is trying to be a little of something for everybody, but our model is based on the kind of stores these guys have in the neighborhoods where, you know, you basically specialize, you get really deep, and you try to be everything you can for your own community. And that's how Amoeba started, and that's how it's become what it is today. We're in a city that's so unbelievably diverse, and so Amoeba here in Hollywood really represents what an incredible community we have to feed off of and to help support. And to whatever extent we've been able to do that, we all feel so proud. But the main thing is there's such a great cause here, and that's what Record Store Day is all about, is celebrating maybe one of the most righteous causes out there, which is bringing music to people, trying to turn people on to music, trying to introduce them to sounds that will bring them somewhere spiritually and otherwise. There's just so much to, I tell people it's really the only other job I've ever had in my life is working in record stores since 1975, and I've been watching people shop in record stores all those years, and the few things I enjoy more than watching people faces when they're looking through records, because they're really, there's a wonderful treasure hunt there that is what the experience is all about, trying to find something that's going to bring you higher, something that's going to bring you where you want to go. And I think our society in general doesn't quite give music the credit that it deserves for being kind of the people's art, the most available, and it's just such an expression of people's love for being alive. That's what music's all about. How many other things out there are like that? So anyway, I'm so happy that we're having this event, and so thankful for Micheal and all his work, and it's so great to meet everybody here. But thank you all for coming down, and I hope, of course, we'll all see you on April 19th for Record Store Day. But I know a lot of people are here all the time, just making this place what it is, and I'm so grateful for that. Anyway.
My name's Mark. I have a shop here in LA called Vacation Vinyl. Sorry. Hi. How's that? Nice. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everyone, and I'm just thinking about how a unifying theme throughout my work day is how humbled I am by my lack of knowledge of what's out there, my lack of understanding the business, and realizing that anything is possible. And so much of it in my life, even the reason I'm here today, has everything to do with music and my love of music, buying and collecting records. You know, there's been periods in time where I've hated this business so much, and in the last year and a half, being in my shop every day, I'm so in love with music again, and with records, and with putting records out. And I mean, sitting here with all of these guys, like the whole spectrum of people, the whole dynamic of what makes the machine of music function, it's beautiful, and it's humbling. So I don't know. Hi.
All right. If you guys could introduce yourself and say a brief word, that'd be great.
Sure. Hi, I'm Julie Edwards, and I'm in a band called Deap Vally. And I guess I'm on the other side of records. I'm a record store shopper and a fan of vinyl. And as a touring musician, my records have a very cherished place in my life, because on tour I don't have them with me. So I'm apart from them and my record player a lot of my life. So when I come home, part of the most awesome part of being home is being able to just dig into my records, open them up, touch them, get all involved in them, put them on the turntable, listen to them, walk over, turn it over, you know, like have a physical relationship with my music instead of just have my MP3s with me. And also, I'm so happy about record stores because they are a real community. They're an actual physical place where people go and encounter each other, where different weird kinds of people end up striking up relationships and finding commonalities because they both need to go find vinyl and bring vinyl home and have vinyl in their lives. And I think record stores are an extremely, extremely important part of music subculture. There's all these cottage industry record shops, like Origami Vinyl, like Lollipop Records, like Burger Records, record stores with communities of artists and fans who also are labels, so supporting developing artists. And it's real, it's genuine. It's like you go into these little record shops and you enter a subculture of its very own, of the people who go to this shop. And I always think of it, I used to own a knitting shop for years, and it's also another like funky little niche thing that people are very passionate and serious about. And I see them as very similar. Like you end up meeting people you'd never encounter ever. You probably wouldn't be friends with. You wouldn't have a 2-hour conversation with about like baby llama wool or like this dub record you bought because the cover was so ridiculously amazing, you know. So I say record store day is the bomb. Let's give people a reason to go to record stores so they can actually buy physical things, which is also good for me as a musician. It's much harder to steal a record than it is an MP3. You have to go to a lot more trouble, face much higher consequences. So, yay for record store.
My name is Micheal Schield, and I own Origami Vinyl in Echo Park. Thank you. 5 years ago, so pretty much on April 3rd, we opened our little shop in our neighborhood. And LA Times did an article on us right before we opened, and it was all about how crazy it was of an idea to open a record store. And at the time, I really wasn't thinking of it as a business. I was thinking of it as a hobby, a project. I'd been in the music industry for 12 years, and it was time for me to like get out of that world and actually hang out with people who loved music and customers and get to talk about music every day. It was kind of like a hobby passion of mine. And honestly, I didn't even think it would last a couple years. I thought it would just be something fun to do until I found another job. That year, there was this little tiny thing called Record Store Day that I had no clue what that was going to be about. We got solicited some product, and we ordered stuff just thinking, oh, this is cool, limited edition stuff. That day, we had like 100 people waiting outside of the store, and we're like, what the heck is this? And from that day on, it's just really grown to such exponential levels, not only for us at the store, but the idea of a record store and the idea of vinyl. And I owe a lot of that to Micheal and his vision for evangelizing that and bringing that to the table. It's really important, being a record store owner, to be involved in your community and allowing early artists that are just starting their career to come in and sell their records and play in-store performances and things like that. So Record Store Day has been a big part of our success, and I'm really happy to say that after 5 years we're doing good and we're thriving. And it's awesome to be working next to places like Amoeba and Vacation, and other stores like Permanent Records, now Analog, Wombleton. I mean, we've got so many stores in LA. It's kind of become a mecca of record stores in this country. And one thing that I think everyone should know, that like Marc and I had lunch yesterday. All the record stores here talk. We're brethren. We don't compete. We help each other. We call each other on the phone. We let our customers know if we don't have something to go to another store and check it out. And I think other industries aren't like that. I don't know that coffee shops do that. I don't know that whatever. Any other stores don't really do that. Record stores are a unique thing. I hope we're all here for a really long time, and I really appreciate all the support that all you guys give us. So it's important just to see all these people here right now. It means a lot. So thanks a lot.
What's up? My name's Sam Lopez, and I'm in a band called Tapioca and the Flea. And we've been lucky enough to be included in the 7-inch that Record Store Day is putting out. I feel like Julie basically nailed everything I wanted to say, but I'm just really stoked to be a part of this, so thanks.
Record stores, I'm a little bit a nut with my analogies, but if you check out baseball had these intimate ballparks once upon a time. We put advertisements on the walls, and they were a mainstay in the quote-unquote national pastime all the way up to the 1960s, where somebody with a big corporate idea thought that they can build these giant cookie-cutter concrete edifices in the middle of wherever and probably put 90,000 people into one of those super stadiums to watch a baseball game and a football game and anything else, even a rock concert or whatever. And this was the, hey, just try to get it all type of mentality, that eventually people start saying, well, you know, I'm so far away from the game, I can't get into the, what's going on here? And they tried to develop new audiences that would get acclimated as they grew up into it. But then something happened around 1991 in Baltimore where they reintroduced the intimate ballpark again, which has started a whole other thing. Now, not going into sports talk so much, I always look at the record stores like Amoeba as being those Wrigley Fields or Fenway Parks. And this is where artists and labels, and this is the music thing, this is the music ballpark. And, you know, we knew that there was stores that popped up, you know, the Best Buys or whatever, these super chains that wanted to get into record selling as well as selling a refrigerator with a flat screen on it. But we cannot lose sight that for artists and for labels and people that love music, these are the intimate ballparks for which we play. And to see it growing into extended areas, I believe that every record store, independent record store, should have a radio station. There should be a radio network, an internet radio network of radio stations that also could operate pretty much license-free or without paying the fees to allow them to play the music to enhance their record stores and keep them in business as well. That should take place. The organization of information. We know that time and space is always a factor in record stores, meaning that can you move something within the time frame that you get it, and do you have the space for it? But to be able to embrace revolutionary ideas, having the download cards, the QR codes, like I said, the radio station nets and stuff like that, and be able to still make it a cultural center to praise the loud and spread the words. It's very important to keep in mind as really making it the essential place for people in the community, as much as they realize in the world of sport that everybody can come together at the football game or at the baseball game, at the high school pep rally. So where's the support in music? Where's our arena? Where's our ballpark, so to speak, instead of just arena, where we come, you know, fan and participant alike, and we also flip that, you know, because every fan should have the opportunity to be a participant and a musician if they so choose, and every person who is a musician or is revered as this great whatever should also be revered as a great fan. So that only can happen here, where the people meet. Even in the virtual world, it can happen. And so dealing with situations like Amoeba, which I call the 10th wonder of the world, you know, these things are a reality, and they just have to be kind of reinforced by the people that say they love music. And this goes for the people that make music, this goes for people who, you know, major companies who kind of want to dip their nose into the energies of it. And because, you know, these major record companies, what's about one of them left? You know, but, you know, they want to dip their beaks into it. They got good music people in there, the ones that are not lawyers and accountants, I should say. But there's a synergy, there's a current going around that there's enough space for everybody, but we have to hold sight that these are our intimate ballparks to play. And I could dig that, you know.
I got a riff off of that. I don't have notes, but intimate ballpark. I'm sure that not only have people come to these stores to get great music, I'll just bet that there's some people going up and down these aisles that have met their mate, their lifetime partner, because there's, you know, this love and community here, and that's, you know?
That's where I met my wife.
Well, you know, mine too. Hey, one other thought about back in the day when we only had vinyl, we used to spend a lot of time seriously programming one side of an LP as a half-hour musical experience, you know. And, you know, nothing against digital, it's cleaner and whatever, but you couldn't push the button to go to the next cut, the next cut. So now, of course, you program your best cut first and your second best second, and because they're going to hit that button. And it's something really sweet to me that there's folks picking up our records and going through that whole experience of, you know, half an hour of music, and so, grazie.
Okay, thank you guys. We'll want to open up just for a few questions for some folks. And I will try to be as polite as possible, but we're going to have to be kind of quick. So let's start with this gentleman right here.
How you guys doing? Good to be here. Are you guys going to have any live acts on Record Store Day? Or are you going to make an announcement to that effect?
There will be some, you know, Record Store Day is the record store's busiest day, so a lot of folks don't do as much of it, but there are some, like, you know, and there'll be hybrids of things, like on top of my mind right now, like working with the store in Toronto, the Bare Naked Ladies will do a performance, and then I'll be followed up with a signing with Paul Rogers.
This record store in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they do it all day long.
Sure, yeah, he's very famous for that. Yeah. Thank you.
Also, I like to, you know, maybe have to ask the questions where, you know, I think that for some genres, like the genre I'm in, you know, only touring at record stores makes sense. Like a record store across continent, really across the world, record store tour. Back in the day, we used to perform at a place that was available to us, Warehouse, in the middle of the hood. So, and we did great performances there. I was really, you know, thrilled when I went and saw some performances at Grammys over in Nashville. Record store performances are like no other. I had a great time performing at Rough Trade over in London, Public Enemy right in the middle of the daytime, just ripping the record store and coming out of there with a stash that cost me quite a bit, even with a discount. I mean, it really seriously is a problem. I mean, it used to be a bigger problem with me. Going to the record store is a problem because I've come to lend my time and my whatever, and I'm going to really kind of put a weight on my credit card when I leave. But I mean, it's a good problem, you know.
We're going to be having Chuck D and John D play at Origami this year. So.
Anyone else got a question? Yeah.
Mike Sandoval with M.U.S.E. This is for Chuck D. Are we going to see an album, a Public Enemy album for Record Store Day, or?
Yes, we're pressing up the vinyl on the Evil Empire of Everything, and we're putting out one of the first hip hop calendars and packaging it with. I mean, I got so much stuff in my house to get rid of. I mean, you can have it all. I mean, really, just like, I try not to be a hoarder. I'm not a hoarder. So I like museums, yeah, sure. You know, signing it's funny because, as John was saying also, that you come to record stores to get so many different things. I go to record stores to get DVDs. I don't collect vinyl. I like to make vinyl. You know, I like to have my selections and my vinyl collection. Well, I'm surrounded by, I mean, they're all at Gary's house. He's got about 4 rooms of records. But me, I got a wall full of DVDs. I'm into the DVD, I'm into magazines and books. So that's where, when I run into an intimate record store, like Criminal Records in Atlanta, I couldn't, you know, I go in there and say, oh, here I go again, Eric. Oh man, I can't get out of here, man. So it's a good problem, better than cocaine. You know?
So. I always said record stores are really not about accumulating stuff as much as we all do that. You know, so much of it is just sort of, I think there's no other place in society where people can go celebrate their utter love for music, period. I mean, you can go to a show about an individual artist or whatever, but whereas the visual art world has museums where you can go just celebrate your love for art, and everything is curated in a very specific way, and you kind of pick and choose what it is you want to look at or experience. You know, the record store is kind of the closest thing we have to a venue like that for music, and so a lot of it has to do with just being in a place where you know everybody loves music on both sides of the counter. There's like such a passion. Where else can you go in a retail store? Maybe a bookstore, but basically there's few other places where you can go catch a vibe, anything like what goes on in a record store. And I think a lot of people are walking down the aisles just taking that in, you know, experiencing just the love that's kind of coursing through the record store.
Well, what's the possibility of every single record store that are combined and working together having their own radio station? Because back in the 40s, even in Los Angeles, like Dolphins records, you have a DJ in the front window cutting. And now it's like, you know, boom, you know, everybody can have their station. It'd be 2,000 stations through an application.
Well, Michael's going to hook us all up again.
Well, I was going to say, this is the second time you mentioned this. I think we have a dream that we're going to have to like make into a reality. I love this idea.
Well, nobody wants to listen to regular radio. They don't do no damn service to nobody. So, you know, like, go to your, you know, boom, go to your app, and like, oh, I want to listen to what's going on with the Amoeba's radio station. And it will be listened to, and it will support all the artists that are trying to be heard somewhere.
Right on.
You know? And
And a shout out though to all the college radio stations and the few community radio stations still out there that do just that. It's amazing that they're still out there, but I'm always amazed at some of the stuff I hear when I put on KXLU or up in Berkeley there's a station called CalX that's just mind-boggling. And there's FMU in New York. But places like that, you know, they are so instrumental in turning people on to the stuff that we have in these stores. You know, that's just a huge factor, and the more of that, the better, and that would be a great tool that stores could use if it weren't for the licensing issues, of course.
Well, you know what, it's like, you know, a law can actually be made with, you know, with enough people to lobby for it and to be able to say, hey, look, when it comes down to independent record stores, got to waive that licensing issue.
Absolutely, we're in the business of turning people on to music, and we should be able to do that. There's no question about it.
I think there's kind of a precedent set in that we played music in the stores, because I know at one point they were trying to say, oh, you're playing music in the stores, you have to pay for it every time you play it.
They tried to charge us more than a few times.
Well, let's identify the they and try to make sure that we can have something that supports artists when they're trying to, you know, figure out how they can get heard even in their own city. Because one of the biggest problems in this country is that when you talk about radio, they never support the artists in the city, and they end up playing artists from everywhere else in the city where people live. So the record stores have to be the place that says, look, you starting in the city, you get love right here in the city. People are buying in the city, but we got to work on areas to get you exposed. So the radio stations actually have been working against record stores. They've been working against music lovers, and they must be stopped. Destroy them tomorrow. You know, I said it. I'll sign my name next to it in case you didn't think I said it.
We have another question from anyone? Gentleman here, the door shirt.
This isn't really a question, more of a statement. Dave Grohl had made this statement that was how do we retain the human element, and that really spoke to me because my girlfriend had bought me a record player last year, 13, maybe the third month of the year. And ever since then, non-stop records, no CDs, barely an iPod, and I think it's a beautiful thing. This place brings people together. And you snap an iPod in half, you're not listening to music. You snap a record in half, you'll still play it, but it'll jump everywhere. So I'd just like to say thank you for making me bell bottom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we need more young people like you. How old are you anyway? 17. That's a great perspective to have at your age. My daughter's 16, and a lot of her friends are really starting to get into LP records and all having their own little collection that kind of represents. I think what a lot of people in the current generation have missed out on is just the connection between their record collection and their own personality, and how a record collection is so representative of who you are. And back in my day, I mean, people would come in, first thing they'd look at, if it wasn't the bookshelf, it was the record shelf, see what does this person listen to, and do a take on who this person is, that kind of stuff does, you can have a million songs in your phone and no one knows a thing about you, and but that's like one of the many aspects of, it's really a way to kind of experience and help define, who you are and what means a lot to you, and there's so many ways in which, in our day anyway, the record collecting thing was all about just trying to figure out who you are and what's important to you. I think that's to a certain extent been lost in a world where there's just a non-stop kind of shitstorm of media coming at you, and you can't really pay enough attention to any of it. An LP record kind of represents almost like a space you can have. It's a meditation. It's like 20 minutes of like, you're going to sit there and take it in. And back in the day when you really had to search it out and eventually find the right magazine to read about it, find the record, and eventually chip in enough money with your friends to get that record and bring it home, there's that connection you have to the artist, and that piece of art is something that I think to a great extent has been lost in the kind of modern digital era, sadly. And I think a lot of people are realizing how much, what a treasure that kind of space is, and getting that close to an artist. I mean, that's the thing.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question or something you want to say? The part of the purpose of today's event was to launch all of the releases that we're doing for Record Store Day. There's about 450 that were done, and most of them done with a tremendous amount of love and care. And even, and I like to, we all like give the record companies a hard time, and deservedly so a lot. But then also there's behind them are an army of people that actually have hearts beating, and that they love their music and they love their jobs, and they're actually very proud of it. And you can see it in the artwork and the production on these vinyl records. They're gorgeous. I don't even know if you know this, but your ex-record company is putting out the Fear of a Black Planet in a...
It's like having an ex-wife come to the ball. Well, I got we're pressing up the Evil Empire of Everything with the calendar, pressed right up at RTI, which is over in Camarillo, a great place, one of the fantastic pressing plants. And to tell you how, there's no love. I mean, I created that record with my partners, so I'm not going to diss it. It's just like, how you going to diss something that came out of you? So, but I would tell you that the new girlfriend, this new vinyl pressing is fantastic. Just to tell you that there's sometimes things that didn't make any sense when you have lawyers make decisions, like EMI. You go to the new EMI building, former EMI, over in London, and all the pressing plants, did anybody hear the story? The pressing plants that they pressed vinyl in the 60s and 70s, they didn't want anybody, when they started moving into the CD era, they didn't want anybody to have these pressing plants, so these pressing machines. So they didn't want their CD business cannibalized. So you know what they did? They broke them up and they put it in the foundation of the new building they was building into the concrete. How stupid shit is that? It's just dumb. It's like, so even there's been a motive of, there's a pressing machine, but we won't sell it if we have control of it as a conglomerate. We'll just break it up, smash it, melt it, so nobody else will press up vinyl versus the CDs that we're trying to sell. That's the asshole ideology of an idiotic lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes, I said it. I'll sign my name. Y'all name me Record Store Day Ambassador. Therefore, you get all that Chuck D shit that goes along with it. But say amen if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's like, they buried the pressing plants. So, that goes against what we're trying to do here. We're trying to keep all these things alive. And there's nothing wrong seeing an ad that says LP, CD, I don't know where they're going to end up, and vinyl. You want them all to kind of be in conference with each other. Because I like to collect CDs, not a lot of them. I like to collect vinyl.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How do you feel about cassette tapes? I'm just curious.
I got too many of them to just speak. I got walls of cassette tapes. New cassette tapes? You know, everything, see, technology is the thing that rules the roost. So you have to have a whole bunch of cassette players, or somebody says, look, we're gonna make cassette players for this new birth of cassette tapes. Lord, please don't let the 8-track come back, because when you were talking about you know, the vinyl and going cut to cut, the 8-track, in order to get to a song you like, sometimes you had to listen to that other song that you didn't want to listen to. But then you end up liking that song after a while because I wanted to listen to the song I want to listen to 29 plays, so I got to hear this other song 29 times, and I end up liking this other song. So I could go into a spiral of insanity.
Then the song that you like gets chopped off right in the middle.
Yes.
And goes to the next track.
Yes. So cassettes are pretty good. You know, cassettes. I popped so many of cassettes in the 80s. It's like if you buy a cassette that you like, it'll pop. So you gotta buy it again if you really like the album. And if you leave it in the back window, it'll warp. So a lot of the sales of the cassettes were also were replacements.
Cassettes do represent the ultimate DIY format. That's why they're so great. They kind of represent a culture that is kind of at the very base of it all, really.
It is.
We could all make our own cassettes like that and just, you know, give them to our friends, spread them around, mixtapes, all that stuff.
Crosley would have to make the players though.
Okay.
We have one with a cassette player in it.
Yeah. I love Crosley.
Are there cassettes coming out on Record Store Day, by the way? Or?
There are a few, and I can't remember the names of the artists, but I know.
I think I noticed a few on the list.
Yeah, and you know, there's these record stores, a lot like Vacation. I don't know if Origami does it, that have a pretty good selection of cassettes. Excuse me. And then Berger, who created this whole culture, you know, this community around it, and it goes all the way to Europe. Because I actually found out about Berger through the woman Marlene who runs Record Store Day in Holland. She was, imagine with her Dutch accent, you don't know about Berger Records? And I'm like, no, I didn't know. She said, oh, then she goes down this list of all these things that she is passionate about. And I'm like, wow, this is so weird. I'm hearing it from somebody in Amsterdam.
Well, I think, but just to finish about what you said about cassettes, I know from signing things, and I go to sign a whole bunch, it's very easy. If somebody gives me, here's a vinyl, here's a Sharpie, boom, 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 boom. CDs, okay, let me try to find it. Okay, yeah, wow. Cassette? I'm like, yo, what, you know, I mean, it's like signing an MP3. It's like, where do I sign? I mean, yeah, so, yeah, when you get something and then you get to really appreciate the artwork that you took all the time to make, all the detail, and the back. Yeah. And it's like, wow, it's the back. I mean, all my Doors albums, it's like, wow, and then you go in the sleeve, it's just like, it's a
and you really scribble all over it with your own marker.
Yeah, especially if you're 6 years old. But I'm saying,
how do you sign an electronic book? That's what I want to know.
yeah, exactly. Gotta sign the Kindle. Gotta sign the iPad.
Anyone else have a quick question or something they want to say? Well, I can't thank everybody enough for coming here and being a part of this. It really just embodies everything we're trying to do, bringing people together, putting music focus in the center of everything, expressing how important it is to us. So I can't express my gratitude enough to everybody for taking the time and to bring their spirit to the group. And thank you so much for coming to share this with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we could have everybody give out their email address too, since it's going across. You know, I would like to have yours. I got plenty of cards too. Yeah. Mine's Chuck D at publicenemy.com. Twitter, I gave it out already. Mr. Chuck D.
And his is Chuck D at publicenemy.com. But I wanted to just also say, make sure to check out the incredible list of stuff coming out for Record Store Day. It'll be published on your site, I'm sure. And we're going to have a big list on our site, and there's really so much cool stuff coming out. Amazing like colored vinyl LPs of like old soundtracks you never thought you'd see again, etc. Just an unbelievable list. In addition to all the cool indie 7-inchers and, like you said, amazing artwork. It's going to be great.
John. JohnDensmore.com, and you know, I've been at Criminal and Grimies, and you know, it's just a beautiful thing. It's like a love fest. I'm selling books, and there's posters and music, and I'm just really digging this. Thank you very much.